When I was younger, away. This is my school. When I was younger. Yesterday was 13th. God knows what he said. Hey everybody, welcome to my live. My name is Crime. That's not my name, this is my channel. My channel is called Crime and Justice. I am your host, Ryan P. Thank you for coming and watching my show. I am here just to watch. Today we are watching the second day of the Treehouse murder trial. So yesterday we watched day one. It was the opening statements. The guy's representing himself. He's doing a great job. Let's see what's gonna happen today. Hopefully he does a way better job. I'm not convinced that the prosecutor's gonna win, but let's see what's gonna happen. I'm a little excited to see what's gonna happen, but I'm not sure what's gonna happen. So please give a like and let's get this party started. So I'm gonna go to the stream and let's begin. When I was younger. Hi, Sean B. Please share on your social medias and help me grow my channel. I want to show you something. So I did something to my. So I did my hair. You like it? And I'm all blonde. Before it had extra color, because it changes color. So every couple of months it changes to like that. But now I had to redo it. So now I am blonde. Let me know if you like it. Let me text. I know you're gonna watch while I text. I'm gonna text some people saying that I'm live now, so they understand. Just share. Make sure. Okay. Are the judges there? Let me know if you can hear me.
We're making progress. I came out at 9, which is when I told the attorneys and Mr. Tucker to be here. I told the jurors 9:15, so I was speculating that perhaps there was a misunderstanding, or maybe there was negotiations for settlement ongoing that necessitated everyone's absence. So, what happened with you guys?
No, sir. No negotiation. It was. We thought Your Honor had said 9:15, and we took that to mean us, and so that's what happened. Our apologies.
Okay. Well, so Mr. Tucker is. Oh, hallelujah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I hope you're having a good Sunday, John B.
Well, in any event, I guess both you and the state misunderstood the instructions that you all be here at 9. The state was here at 15, which shows. In any event, please endeavor to be on time in the future. I don't keep stopwatch here. Very flexible understanding, but this is the third or fourth time that we've been waiting for you. It's got to stop. So, in any event, here we are. State versus Tucker. Prosecution. Defendant. And I did receive the, what should I call it? The note from Janice M. Adams, Director of Care Management, Lower Keys Medical Center. And I don't want to be a stickler here or be unreasonable. All what I have says Paula Belmonte is a patient at Lower Keys Medical Center. What additional information do you need? So she could be a patient next week. Is her condition such that she's just physically unable to endure the rigors of travel, appearing live in person? Those are the questions. So, in other words,
My Sunday's pretty good.
If you would, Your Honor, if I might.
Yeah.
No, I understand totally that note is definitely vague, and you definitely need more details than that. I would understand that. If you recall, I didn't send the note. I didn't see it
I'll be
before Your
back.
Honor saw it.
Yes.
So let me go ahead and I'll get with them and make sure they
Yes,
send you a much more detailed explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to really pry into Ms. Belmonte's personal health information. It's not news that unfortunately the woman is very ill.
Yeah,
There's no question about that. That's
yeah,
been a fact that we've all operated with for many
yeah.
years now, frankly. But
Well, with
nevertheless, when it comes down to this trial and her personal appearance, that's pretty important.
oh, definitely, Your Honor.
It
And
seems like it would be,
I think they could also do it where they don't give away any of her privileged medical information, but they could also put it in a way that Your Honor would know that she is definitely not capable of showing up here in person. Um, you know, one of the things, just to let Your Honor know, it is a condition that is on top of what we already knew was a life-threatening condition. So, and she was under quarantine. That they could at least put in there that she was under quarantine.
yeah, I don't really need to have any details about what specifically it is, but if the doctors say this woman is going to be in the hospital for the foreseeable future, even if she gets out, it would be a threat to her health to travel to the courthouse, be in the courthouse, get on the witness stand, ignore the rigors of personal cross-examination. All that can be provided without um, compromising any confidential information.
Yep.
Moreover, in terms of the law on this ongoing issue, I've done some research, had staff do some research, and there's a case from the Florida Supreme Court, Harrell versus State, 709 Southern 2nd, 1364. That's 709 Southern 2nd, 1364 to 98. But to me, it's right on point. It talks about utilization of remote transmission of testimony in lieu of deposition perpetual. So that was before the days of Zoom, when they were talking about satellite transmission. And ultimately, the court left it to the sound discretion of the judge in so many words, but I'm sure that it was a valid reason for the witness not to be able to appear, either due to illness or being outside the jurisdiction. And
I'm going to mute myself so nobody can hear you.
Interests and procedures, which would be best, who's calling the witness and the like. So ultimately, I think it comes down to an exercise of sound discretion. If technically it can happen, and if she's unable to be here, and there can be the provisions where we're going to have the most assurance that it's going to go as smoothly as we can hope for. Again, without being able to control everything, there's always the unknown. It seems like it would favor the Zoom, but if you all want to look at that case,
I will,
it might be instructive.
Yes, sir.
So, otherwise, state is ready to proceed.
Judge, we are ready to proceed. I just want to check, our witness went to the office, and I think she's walking over now. So let me just check them all, see if she's here.
What about the defendant?
Yes, I'm ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay. And the jurors are here, but let's just wait till Mr. Mansfield makes this check. I'm just curious. All right. Yeah. All right. Bring in the
Turn off
jury.
the elevator and they are here.
All right, so let's bring in the jury, please. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen of the jury. Great to see you all here this morning. Thank you for being here on time. Sorry you had to wait a few minutes to come out, but as I've tried to explain, frequently there's things that arise that the judge needs to address. They're not for the jurors' consideration, and those things happen. I try to expedite them to the extent that I can, and I'm always aware of your time. I don't take it for granted. So thank you for your patience this morning. As I say, it's good to see you. I know it's been a long week. We've had a busy week. From my vantage point, a productive week. And so today's Friday. And as you know from my scheduling announcements that Monday is a national holiday. It's a state court holiday. We won't be in session. So after today, the next time we'll be in session is Tuesday. But for today, the state commenced presentation of its case in chief yesterday, and we're going to allow them to continue with that today. So please continue to give what's presented to you your close attention and focus. And with that, State, your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. State would call Deputy Danielle Malone.
All right. Deputy Danielle Malone. Please come forward, ma'am, right through the gate there. You would approach the deputy positioned in front of the witness stand. Say, stop right there is good. Turn, face the clerk. Raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in the cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, please have a seat on the witness
I
stand.
just met. Oh, juicy jamming. I keep forgetting.
So, good morning. I did note that you brought what looked like some sort of binder you carried up to the witness stand with you, and that's all right, except you cannot refer to that while you're testifying unless you're specifically asked and allowed to do so.
Yes.
All right. And please speak loudly and clearly.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name again for the record, please.
My name is Danielle Malone,
And where are you currently employed?
the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
And in what capacity are you employed there?
I am currently employed as a communications supervisor in the 911 center
How long have you been employed with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office?
since January 2007.
That's approximately, 15, 16 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
16.
Have you always served in the communications division, or have you served in other areas?
I've served in other areas within the agency.
Please explain for the jury what other areas you.
When I first started, I was a deputy sheriff trainee, went through the police academy, and then I was on road patrol for approximately 4.5 years. And then I moved into a canine handler spot, which is also road patrol, just with the dog. Did that for about 4.5 years. After that, my dog retired and I went back to being road patrol for about 6, 7 months. Then I went into the communications department for approximately 9 months. And then from the communications department, went into the major crimes detective bureau and was there for, I think, 2.5 years.
Okay, I'd like to direct your attention to November 17th of 2017. Were you working in the major crimes unit at that time?
Yes, sir.
And do you have an opportunity to become involved in a case that's commonly referred to as a treehouse?
Yes, sir.
And what was the nature of your involvement in that case?
I was one of the assisting detectives to,
To investigate the case?
yes, to investigate the case.
Okay, and during the course of that investigation, were you ever asked to retrieve and obtain videos that may be relevant to this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and did you in fact do so?
Yes, sir.
And were those videos provided to you by Detective Fernandez of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Kojandi?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'd like to see that exhibit, please, and here. Look at that item.
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
It's a flash drive with Cosme video surveillance.
Are those the ones that were provided to you by Detective Fernandez?
I believe this is a copy of
A
it.
copy of it?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to review that?
Yes, I've reviewed this flash drive.
Okay, and is it very accurate? Represent references?
Yes, sir.
States
H.
HD.
Is there any objection?
Yes, sir. Just only because I haven't seen the videos on the tape. I don't know what's on the flash drive.
Did you want to confer with the prosecutor or?
Yeah, just for a second, because I'd like to see what's on the tape. Just- as long as it's just-
Move the exhibit H in that.
Is there any objection?
no.
All right, so H is admitted into evidence as the next in order, being number 8.
This time I would like to stipulate the published videos.
All right, you can do it.
If they allow me, I think that's one of our investigators. I'll like to ask questions.
Work or the video?
Work them out.
All right, that's fine. Mr. Tucker, if you're not adequate view from where you are, then position yourself where you were yesterday during publication of the video.
I appreciate that. Thank you. This is.
We all have to be mindful of keeping our voices up. Stationary mic position. All right, let's roll.
Let me.
Detective Malone, while we're setting up those videos, I just wanted to ask you a couple of quick groundwork questions. Did you have an opportunity to review the videos for evidentiary value? And based on your training experience, they did reveal some type of evidentiary value that you can explain to the jury, correct? Okay.
Well, there's no question.
That'll refresh your recollection.
Yes, sir.
You have your report with you?
I do.
Okay, Judge, may they refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Would you mind if I take a look at that, Your Honor?
That's what, sir?
Whatever report she's referring to.
The state would need to show to the defendant whatever document she's using to refresh recollection.
Thank you.
Please explain to the jury what exactly are we looking at?
Right now, we're looking at the still of the video camera from Cosme Marine, which is a business that is just out right next door to the Treehouse. This is the Marine lot.
This is very sad. In
Right
this
here is
case.
the vacant lot.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tucker, what?
I was wondering, this isn't an official objection. I was just wondering if there's any way we can make it bigger for the jury to see. Because they got it in a window that's just, there we go, full screen. That's what I was asking.
This is the Marine repair shop with their boats and their fence, their lot. This is their covering. Directly across the street, you see the lights. Here. This is the parking lot of CVS. And then this is the hospital here.
Yeah, you can make the hot dog if you want.
2017, this was a vacant lot. And right
Huh?
next to this boat is the fence of the yard.
Oh, what friend?
I met him on a dating app.
But afterwards, that's fine.
The first time stamp would be 1943. Coming up here in a couple of seconds, we're going to see a vehicle pull onto the screen coming from this way. Based on my interview with the getaway driver, John Travis Johnson, he advised that he pulled up with.
Actually, you can set it. Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. She's speaking for the other witness.
I'm going to sustain the objection. That's it.
gonna see a pickup truck pull into view and then pull up right in front of these folks. About 20 seconds. Yes, sir.
What evidentiary value does that have, based on your investigation?
That it is consistent with the vehicle pulling up initially and then leaving and coming back a few minutes later.
Consistent with the vehicle that's alleged to have gone to the treehouse. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything of evidentiary value on this video?
In at 19:45 and 15 seconds, the truck pulls back up in the same direction that it came from. Stops. You can see on the video. Right here in the light that it's there when the truck stops. Then about a minute, if that, or less than a minute, you're gonna see in this portion right here, one person, two people walking towards where the tree house is. You can see in that, in between, that little spot in between, what's the light from the vehicle. And then you see one figure here, ahead, and then second figure here, walking towards the trees.
Is there a second video that you
Yes.
read for evidentiary value? Is there anything of value which we can investigation listed on this one?
It's at 19:51 and 17 seconds.
What would the jury be looking at that
All
portion?
stars above. Hi.
When this portion starts, you're gonna see.
Thank you for joining
this
us.
direction where the tree house is, where this road. You're gonna see something come out here.
Welcome.
Something or someone?
Somebody
Okay.
that has a flashlight in their hand. And you're gonna see the flashlight bobbing as they go up this hill, this bank to the CPS park.
I'm good.
If I'm asked while we're waiting for that, take the light.
That's the gentleman.
And at the right of the screen, the truck that pulled up is still there, correct?
It appears to be used.
So just to recap, we see
Objection, Your Honor. It's speculative. You know.
About speculative, but it's asked and answered, so we'll go to the next
very
question.
well. Is there anything else of evidentiary value on this video?
On this video, this section of the video.
Okay, let's move to the second video that you reviewed so that we can play for the jury, please. And describe for the jury what they're going to be seeing in this video, please.
This video is where that video just ended. This is picking up right there with the video. Video files are sometimes too large to do all at once. So especially surveillance, you get them in sections, and this is the next section of this.
You have an opportunity to give this video for injury value.
Yes, sir.
And you need to refresh your recollection with respect to the part of the video which relevant for the jury.
Yes, if I could just look at the times. At should be okay, I think it's is the timestamp 51:34, so it should be very like last second of that first video. I'm sorry.
What about the previous video?
The previous video. Once we see the flashlight come up here, we're going to see the person wearing all dark running. It's very quick and it just happened. We're going to see somebody come out from the treehouse right in here. And run that in the direction of where the truck is stopped.
Very well, thank you.
And then on the next video.
Ma'am, yes, nice question.
Just, excuse me, Judge, I was conferring with my.
I understand.
On the second video.
We are watching the Treehouse murder trial day 2. Basically, a guy killed someone and I think they're accusing him of killing someone. He said he didn't do it. He's defending himself. He's doing he's doing all right, representing himself.
We're going to see somebody come out.
Correct.
This area and walk right here. They're going to walk up this way. And they're going to eventually come up into the town. That was one of the subjects that was in the trailer at the treehouse.
Based on your training and experience and your investigation of this case, that's what you do.
Yes, sir.
With respect to this video, is there anything else of evidentiary value?
Yes. As 1952 30, you're going to see the gentleman with the flashlight. That's going to be up here. He's going to come back down and walk back towards the treehouse.
This is day 2, and I think tomorrow, because they didn't there's not a day 3. Tomorrow we're gonna watch the pizza delivery murder trial.
And then you see the flashlight here. And now walking out this way.
I'm gonna try to get in 2 days for that tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to stream early, so I can stream 8 hours straight.
Just walking out.
We're looking around, though.
You're back on the street at the end up near the CVS parking lot.
Again, objection on, she's saying it's the same person. She can't possibly tell that. There's no way she can tell that.
Maybe 2 p.m. I'll
Going
stream.
to overrule the objection. Certainly cross-examine her.
And they're coming up into the CVS parking lot. And then right after that at 1954 and 13 seconds, you're going going to see a subject again come from here, wearing all dark clothing, again heading in the direction where 42nd Street, where the truck was parked in between his boats. He's going to be lumbering. I guess is the best way to describe it. He's not really, not running, he's not walking, but he's lumbering. You'll see when it comes out. Okay. And I believe that is everything that's on these.
Very well. Okay, thank you so much. In these videos, we just wait for the jury. Did you do anything else in this case?
I also did the initial interview of Paula Belmonte.
Address that in a moment. With respect to collecting any samples of DNA for swabs and testing, did you do any of that?
Yes, sir. I took the buccal swabs from Rory Wilson and Franklin Tucker.
Commissioner Percy.
Yes.
As far as collecting DNA swabs from potential suspects, is that a formal class that you go to? Do you learn it at the sheriff's department? Please explain for the jury how you did that, how you learned that.
When I came into major crimes, one of the more senior major crimes detectives walked me through it, showed me how to do it, and actually was with me the first couple times that I had taken buccal DNA swabs from subjects.
Okay, can you please describe that process for the jury?
So when we're taking a DNA swab, a buccal swab, they come in a sterile packet, and it's basically a Q-tip with a wood stick, and they're pretty long, about yay long. We ask the subject to open their mouth. We put on protective latex or nitrile gloves. We have the subject open their mouth. We open the sterile package. We insert the Q-tip into their mouth, onto the inside of their cheek. And then we do at least 3 circles, going like one way clockwise and then going counterclockwise in the other. Then we take that swab, we put it back into that sterile case. Then we put it into a small cardboard case that is specifically for buccal swabs, tape that up, and then we put it into a brown paper bag, and that gets taped up. We also do a second swab. We take the exact same process, another sterile Q-tip, and have the subject open their mouth, and then we swab the opposite cheek and making big circles, back into the cardboard box that gets sealed. The box gets labeled with date and time that we took the sample, who we took the sample from, and then them boxes go into the brown paper bag that gets all taped up and then gets labels printed onto it with barcodes for tracking for property.
You indicated that in this case you took swabs from Mr. Rory Hank Wilson and also from Mr. Franklin Tyrone Tucker, the defendant in this case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, approach the witness. Right?
Yes.
It should have been previously marked as dates. exhibit for identification I and J.
Yes, sir.
Look at it. Do you recognize those?
Yes, sir. I see my initials on the tape and on the label that was made on this one, and the same thing here. I see my initials on the edges of the tape on the label, and again the edges of the tape that's on the backside.
And exhibit I, which is the swab that was taken from the defendant, in this case, Mr. Tucker. Did you follow the same procedures just described for the jury?
Yes, sir.
Did you deviate from those procedures in any shape, fashion, or form?
No, sir.
The same questions for the state's exhibit J. In that swab to Mr. Wilson, you follow the same exact procedures that you described for the jury.
Yes, sir.
Did you deviate in any shape, fashion, or form?
No, sir.
Judge, at this time, the state will admit state that for them I and J into evidence.
Is there any objection? Admit, those, is the next two in order be 9 and 10?
Have a moment, Judge.
Yes?
Stars above, how you doing today? I hope you're having a good day.
You indicated that you conducted some interviews in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and without telling me the substance of those interviews, who did you interview?
I interviewed Paula Bellamonte
Okay, and who else?
and Roger Ragut, I believe is how you pronounce his last
Okay,
name.
and did you have an opportunity to interview Rory Hank Wilson?
I was in the interview room at times during his interview, yes.
Okay, so you participated in the process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Wow.
Cross-examination?
Yes, is there any way I could get the, are you deputy now, or?
No, I am not a deputy anymore.
Okay, okay. Well, Ms. Malone, could you please come up and help me with the video again? Because I wanted to go through the videos that you showed to the jury. So we can go ahead and go over your testimony.
So you want to publish that exhibit?
Yes, please.
What's that exhibit? Yeah, the last video.
I'd also.
State tape. Okay. Is that loaded up, or does that have to be, I'm asking the state.
Your Honor, if I may, in order to do my cross-examination, also going to make the video, the first Cosby's video.
I'm sorry, sir, I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. This mic doesn't seem to pick it up very well. Your Honor, I was also asking if I may, there's been a video that was entered into evidence yesterday with Detective Fernandez, that, Ms. Malone is Ms. Malone is very well aware of that video too, and it's also, part of my cross. So.
Yes, sir. You certainly can utilize whatever's been admitted into evidence, and.
Can we also queue up, I'm sorry, can we also queue up the.
Not really, I mean, you or the state perhaps can assist in terms of the publication of the video.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, which one would you like to start with?
Let's go ahead and start with the first Cosby.
Okay, that's number 7.
That would be the one from yesterday that Fernandez, Detective Fernandez put in.
Apparently, he'd like to use number 7, if I understand correctly, the one that was submitted yesterday. There is. Now it's
Oh, thank you. And if we could go ahead, and this is the first one, so let's go ahead and queue up to when the truck goes ahead and pulls up. I couldn't remember. Could you refresh my memory, Danielle?
1943
Thank you.
in about 23 seconds. Mr. Tucker, do you want me over there?
That would actually help. I'd appreciate that. Okay, so this is the truck pulling up, right? Parks there. We all agree on that, right?
Please speak up.
I'm sorry, we all agree that truck's behind the boats, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Miss Malone, is this, did you say that you could see the driver in this video? And never? Have you ever said that you can actually see John Travis Johnson sitting in the truck in this video?
No, sir, I cannot see him in this video.
Did you ever say you could?
No, I never said I could see him. I said I could deduce that it wasn't.
Okay. There's something else I'll have to qualify with the state later. Okay. Now, in this video, okay, you say this corroborates evidence of what? Again, just remind me.
Evidence.
Objection to the question, Judge.
No, she testified. Sorry.
Overrule the objection, sir.
Okay. Ms. Malone, could you go ahead and just repeat for us what evidentiary value this video had?
Based on the confession from co-defendants and their testimony stating who was in the trunk and what was happening with the truck.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. And could you explain to me how that testimony, that this is a truck, we all agree on that, it's coming up. How does this, again, corroborate his testimony about who is in the truck?
Because when he gave us his confession, he told us exactly what they did in the truck, who was in the truck, how they came out once to scout the place and they came back the second time and that's when they got out of the truck.
Okay. So that confirms, again, that he admits that he went around once. He admits that he went to the scene. But how does that, again, how does this video tell you anything about anybody that's in that truck?
Based on everything that I knew and know, that's who's in the truck.
Again, please tell me or tell the jury what report or what video you're referring to that tells you who's in that truck.
Objection, Judge. Asked and answered.
Yeah, that's been asked and answered. I'm going to suspend the objection.
Okay. Anyway, again, based on your training experience, you can tell who's in that truck. Okay, that's what you just said. Okay, just clarify. Okay, can we please go up to the next video? Okay. Again, this video is what I'm sure you're very familiar with it, Ms. Malone. Could you please explain to us what this video is again?
This is the video from the Florida police electric surveillance.
Okay. And David Fernandez was the one who was tasked with retrieving this video, though, correct?
I
Okay. I just refreshing my memory here. Okay. but you're well aware of what's on the video, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right, please, if you would go ahead and just play it. We'll play it to let me see the person in the video. Okay, could we please stop there? Okay. Now, based on your investigation, who is that in the video?
That is John Travis.
Okay, just refresh. At the time, you were what level were you on the investigation as far as being in charge or making decisions, please? I'm just trying to, again, I don't know the ranks of the MCSO, so.
Assisting in the investigation.
Okay, and so in the hierarchy, it would have been Captain Phelps, Detective Pitcher, then yourself, correct? Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot about Sergeant Kellenberger. He would have been in between, correct? Okay, so it would have been Pitcher then you, correct? Okay, good. I just want to make sure I understand. Okay, so again, you know who was in the video based on the investigation, not just from video and surveilling the video, but again from your position in the investigation, correct? Okay, good. All right, and who did you guys think was this person in this video originally when you originally were investigating? Very beginning. You were developing suspects. Okay, do you recall Captain Phelps? Or again, I seem to remember, but we'll figure that out later. But do you remember Captain Phelps saying anybody was in this video? Sustained, and I'll withdraw. Yes, let's go ahead and, again, from your understanding, this is John Travis Johnson, correct? Okay. We please continue the video, but we're going to have to go. It's an unknown timestamp. We went to it yesterday. I just don't remember the timestamp on the video. But that's John Travis Johnson. And which way is he heading right now? This is the Treehouse. Okay. So yes, but it's all not that far, correct? I mean, it's like within a block of each other or something like that, right?
Yeah, like what?
Okay. All right, so he's heading up towards the Treehouse, right? Towards Tom Thumb Fire Department Treehouse, right?
Yes, sir. He's headed from there.
Okay.
If I make it, yes, Mr. Tucker.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And
And
if you may, like closer look. And I think to say how far we would have to go. Daniel, could you remind me what timestamp the next one is? Okay, no problem. Thank you. Just trying to. I would like to say it's 23. So. Yeah, it's like 18. Actually, it's getting ready to turn 23 now. Just might as well play it. maybe while we're waiting, you could, yeah, I can. Okay, this is what we're looking for. Okay, wait, let's wait till they get in the light before we pause it. Could you please pause it right here? Okay, now, do you know who the two individuals in this video are?
John Travis Johnson.
Okay, and
The other one, I'm not sure.
okay, has anybody admitted to being the person in this video during your investigation?
Objection, call for hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Just I was going based on the investigation, whether or not she knows that person is not just what's in the video.
Any objection?
Okay,
That's a different question. I'll allow that question.
Ms. Malone, I'm sorry. Based on your entire investigation, right? You investigated the Treehouse case from when until when?
That day,
2019. Okay. So at 2017 is when it happened. So 2019 is when you finished, or you haven't worked the case since then, correct? All right. So during the investigation, did you guys ever identify who's in this video? Okay. We'll go ahead and leave it at that. But you do know it's John Travis Johnson, correct? Or at least that you believe it's him. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Can we go ahead and re-queue up the video, the last video? I forgot something.
Now we're shifting to number 8, the one that was admitted this morning.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. And if we could go, I don't know if you remember the timestamp when the truck comes up and they get out.
20,
Okay.
1940.
I just wanted to clarify a few things just to make sure. All right. Okay. So in this video, you see a truck. Right? I would agree it's a truck. I think even the state said it's a truck, right? Okay. You know this is John Travis Johnson's truck because he told you it's his truck, correct?
Yes.
Just making sure. Just be clear, the jury's not having a hard time seeing any of this. Just want to make
You
sure.
all tell me if you are having any difficulty seeing. You can't see
Okay.
it.
Should we move this
Okay.
up closer, Your Honor?
Excuse me?
Should we move the screen a little closer to the jury?
You're able to. You know.
to help you see better?
That's about as good as it's going to get, and I do want to, remind the jurors, just like all other evidence that's introduced during the course of the trial, it will be available for your deliberations. So merely because it's being published now isn't your only view of it. So during your deliberations, you'll have the ability to view, like I said, this evidence as well as all the other evidence that's introduced during the whole trial. Yes, sir. Sir,
It'll get a little bit
answer,
bigger.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tucker,
I'm sorry.
please, that answer is.
Okay. And can we go ahead and full screen it for me so it's easier to see? Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Go ahead and just play from there. Yes, truck pulls up parks. Again, you say there's two subjects that come out of the car, right? Apparently. You can't see it. Apparently, okay. Okay, could you please pause it right here? Okay, we see two subjects. I would assume, I'm hoping the jury can see this. Again, is that what you describe as two subjects? Okay. And could you describe who those two subjects were based on what you see right here? Okay, and how would you know that? But not what's in the video. I'm asking you to
You gotta
testify.
let her finish her answer,
Sorry.
please. Finish your answer.
I know that it's them two people based on all the evidence that I knew at the time when I wrote my arrest affidavit.
And to be clear, did you write your arrest affidavit after seeing this video or before seeing this video? Okay. And you know that it's those two subjects based on not what's in the video. I'm asking you to testify exactly what's on the video right now, not what you learned from your investigation. What can you see in the video?
The two subjects walking.
Exactly. Okay. Just making sure. Two subjects walking towards the treehouse, right?
Yes.
Okay. You can go ahead and take this video off and go to the next one in this series, if you would.
I think that's
No, I'm sorry. That would be the other one. That I'm looking for the second, the Cosmics videos, please. Oh, they still have it up there. I guess we have to go to this one first. Could we get the flash drive that was with the videos that the state just submitted?
So we're looking for number 8.
Yes, it's just that the series started with this video and then there's two other
Finished with
videos.
number 7.
Yes, I'm finished with all the videos on this one.
So James, 7.
See this? Is this the one where we see the subject that's running with the flashlight up the hill? Is that this video?
No, that's the.
So, let's take a look at this one. We need to. Okay, it's coming down the hill. I see. Okay, so according to your investigation, it's that subject running down the hill. Okay, just making sure. So that's according to the investigation. But again, just to clarify, can you see that that's Tato Quinn in this video? Okay, just making sure. But that's based on your investigation. Yeah, if I remember correctly. I need to see another subject. Correctly, if you would refresh my memories.
Yes.
Okay, again, can we pause for a second? Okay, who's this? Who do you suspect, based on your investigation, that is? Okay, you believe that's Roosevelt, Washington. Okay, but from the video, again, you can't see that that's Roosevelt, Washington, right? Just one second. Clarify those two things. Okay, and is there anything else of evidentiary value on this that you remember?
The subject was leaving the treehouse.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll let it go to that point. I don't know offhand. Yes, if you may, please.
Yes.
And to clarify, Ms. Malone, you're reading from the official affidavit that you wrote, correct? Oh, there's a person that just ran up the hill. Could we please back it up a little bit? Okay, there's somebody right there at the top. Oh, there, right there. See somebody who came running up the hill? Can you pause that, please? Again, according to your investigation, who do you believe that is? So it's an unknown party, and they could, again, even though we've accepted that, these people are running from the treehouse, you can't actually see that, correct? Yeah, the treehouse proper, the property. Right, but you can't see the gate where people go in and out or anything like that. Okay, just checking. And so you don't know who this subject is, though, but we're going to assume that they came from the treehouse too, correct? Okay. Again, I think she believes there's another one on here, if I remember correctly. Okay. Okay, right there, if you would. Okay, can you back up just a little bit? Just we want to make sure we have the person best view that we can give. Right there, pause. Okay, so we can kind of see the top of the head here, correct? Okay, and we both agree that that's a subject walking away from the treehouse location, right?
Yes.
Where, not necessarily from the treehouse, but from that location. Okay. Again, so this subject, according to your investigation, again, who's this subject? Rory Wilson. Okay. And again, but you can't see that that's Rory Wilson, right? Is there anything in this video where you can actually see that's Rory Wilson in this video? Okay, it's a big man, but there's a lot of big men out there. Can you see that that's Rory Wilson? Again, not based on your investigation, just the video. Just from the video, not from your investigation. I'm saying, looking at this video right now, you can tell me based on this picture that that's Rory Wilson. No, okay. That's all we need. No, just no, okay. And then, but based on your investigation, you're thinking that might be Rory Wilson. Okay, gotcha. Just checking. Okay, we can go ahead and queue up to the next in the Cosme's videos. Yeah, that would be the second one. Yeah. I think that would do it. Okay. Thank you.
I was present for some of it, not all of it.
Okay. Okay. You, if I remember correctly, you were present and reviewing videos, if my memory serves right, on when John Travis Johnson originally. I'm sorry. I'll take that back. It's a horribly phrased question. I take it back. Okay. You were there for part of the interviews with him, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember reviewing videos with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If again, just to verify, were those the same videos that we were just looking at for the most part?
Yes, sir.
So I can't remember any other ones. So, okay. Now, when you're reviewing these videos with John Travis Johnson, does he at one point to the video in the Ford Keys Electric video, right? Doesn't he at one point to the subject in that video and say it's him?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
I'll have to have you queue up another video. Okay. So you don't recall at this point, but you did say that, you just, because of the investigation, you knew that was John Travis Johnson in that video, not because you could see him in the video. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. In your arrest affidavit, did you write that you could see me at certain timestamps doing different things in the video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it, again, what in your investigation led you to be able to say that?
It was the totality of all the evidence, witness statements, confessions
Okay.
that we had obtained.
May I? Again, specifically, because I'm okay. I'd just like to get more.
It's a trial president here, so one or the other. You can come sidebar.
I'm sorry, Miss Malone. Back to the offense report and the affidavit that you wrote, right? Okay, let's get back to that for a second. Did you ever write in that report that witnesses had made statements with my name in them?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Okay, which witnesses used my name? And when they were telling you the story of whatever they saw, whatever they witnessed, which witnesses actually used my name?
Objection, Your Honor. Only objection. Answer the question.
In Rory Wilson's initial interview with us, he put you in the warehouse planning the robbery by name. John Travis Johnson also said your name.
So both suspects, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just checking. Okay, so anybody else beyond the suspects?
Not that I recall.
That's what you were. Okay, good. Okay, so you were familiar with that. Okay, let's move on a little forward. That same truck that I can't say it's the same truck. Let me back up. The truck. There's a truck that you searched later on in the investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you went to search this truck, what truck was? What truck? Why were you searching this truck?
It was John Travis Johnson's truck.
Okay, it was John Travis Johnson's truck, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and okay, how do you remember? If I remember correctly, you were the one who actually signed for the search warrant on that truck, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you probably know better than I would. How long after John Travis Johnson was arrested was it before you went and searched this vehicle?
I would have to look at the report for exact
Give me an
dates.
approximate.
But he was arrested around November 22nd-ish. And I believe we did the search warrant around December 5th or 6th.
Okay, so how many days is that? Do you have those up?
Uh,
Approximately, I would say approximately 15, 20 days, something like that?
Yeah, probably 2 weeks.
Okay, just checking. Okay, so where was the truck in these 15, 20 days before you searched it?
At one point, it was at an address in Big Pine.
Okay,
And then it was moved to Mr. Johnson's boss's house.
okay, and moved by who? And this is after Travis was arrested, right?
Correct.
Okay, just checking. Okay, but moved by who?
It was towed by Mr. Johnson's boss.
Okay, over to one of his lots, correct?
Yeah, I think his
Okay, good.
house or lot. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And okay, so after it got towed over to this lot, did the police, did they decide to impound it, or I'm sorry, the sheriff's department, did they decide to impound the vehicle, or take the vehicle, or secure it somehow?
No, we just conducted a search warrant of the vehicle and
Yeah.
searched the vehicle.
And this is after it had been sitting there for 10, 15, 20 days, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just check. Okay, and when you went to do the search of the vehicle, was there anybody else with you?
There was quite a few people.
Okay, could you recall any of them off the top of your head?
Detective Underwood was there.
Okay,
Deputy Overson was there. I believe retired Sergeant Hernandez was there, and Captain Phelps.
Captain Phelps. And okay, so did you do a video of this? When you guys searched the vehicle, did you do a video of that at all, or
Yes,
remember?
sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Mr. Tucker. I think it's time to take a morning break.
That would be
So, members of the jury, we're gonna take a 15-minute break. Again, same procedures that we've used in terms of those who choose to stay in the jury room, those who choose to go beyond the rules that apply in terms of communication and the like. 11 o'clock, we'll ask you to be back and go from there. so you're going to be back on the witness stand, obviously, but you can take a break.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll be back at 11.
But one quick thing to address before we go. We're getting messages from people that Mr. Alvarez and I's conversations here at the table are being picked up by the cameras here, and we can hear it out there in the viewing land. That's not going to work for us.
No.
So I don't know what can be done, but maybe they even have to move their mics or move something, but people can hear our conversation.
Yeah. Again, I have no technical expertise, but that's absolutely acceptable. Accommodated, and I.
All the way.
Oh, I took a break again.
Of the day, and then we wouldn't get to any other witnesses.
Took a break.
We inquired as to what the nature of that cross was going to be, and he indicated his intent to go into depth on the IA investigations in the case and the findings of whatever findings those are. Our objection is going to be that it's not relevant to the facts in this particular trial, or the evidence that's being presented, and that it's going to contain a lot of hearsay. I mean, the results of those reports and any reading of those reports, that's hearsay. So I don't know if the court wants to address it now or wait until it happens, but
If I may, Your Honor.
Yeah.
He says reports. The only IA report I plan on using for this cross-examination is an IA report from this case where it was sustained that she mishandled 35 pieces of evidence in this case. And again, these are including videos. So I would consider that highly relevant.
I mean, I guess we'll get to it, but I don't consider it relevant. If there's some showing of a tainted piece of evidence or a chain of custody that's been compromised, but this, it's not, the trial is not about.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir, I am speaking. The trial is not about putting the investigation on trial. It is specifically the facts and circumstances. So as I said, I'll certainly let you make your proffer. I'll get to the point where it's, becomes a subject. We'll deal with it, but my strong inclination is that is not relevant.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, I don't understand, maybe it is the layman in me, and maybe you can educate me on this, how that it's the credibility of the investigation that is what is the evidence they're using against me in this trial. How is that not credible if the investigation was not conducted on any kind of good standard?
It's not the credibility of the investigation, it's the credibility of the evidence. That's what's at issue.
But
Like I said, if you can show that there's been a bit of evidence that's been tainted, if there's been a witness that's been compromised, but to say, oh, this was just an investigation that violated all these standards, no, sir, that's not relevant.
well, I would imagine that, again, 208 pieces of evidence were mishandled. That was what was sustained in this investigation, including DNA, including video, including physical evidence. And yes, this is evidence that the prosecution is actually putting into evidence in this trial.
Well, I'll look forward to your showing or objection that some evidence is in fact that's being admitted or offered is not authentic, it's compromised. That's fine, but in terms of how the internal affairs may have assessed the investigation, that in and of itself is not relevant as a general proposition. Again, it's not the investigation that's on trial, it's the evidence emanating from that investigation. And so there's specific pieces, I know I'm repeating myself, but there's specific pieces of evidence that simply doesn't withstand the foundational requirements. I'd be happy to make an appropriate ruling. So that's about as much as I can show.
Okay, I'm trying to navigate this line.
I know you are, and I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. Just like any other case, there's disputes, disagreements, and the judge is asked to make a ruling, and I'll make my best ruling. Like I said, we get to a specific part, and there's an objection, and we need to go outside the jury to do that. If you need to make a proffer, that is a showing of what you like to have presented absent an adverse ruling, you can do that and preserve the record, but that's how it works. So in any event, with that said, bring in the jury, please.
Thank you for coming, whoever came to my stream. I appreciate it. Please say your name or type your name if you can. Or say hi, I mean.
Back on the record, the witness remains on the witness stand under oath, subject to continued cross-examination.
Yeah, Ms. Malone. Let's see, I'm not exactly sure where we left off, but let's go ahead and get back to the investigation. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at this point, at the Cosme videos, at that point in the investigation, how far in were you? Again, did you say?
When we got the videos, I believe we were at day 5.
Day 5. Okay, so you got these videos the same day that Travis Johnson was arrested, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And now, prior to that point in the investigation, you're at day 5. What other evidence did you have to say that I was in that video? You said it was based on your investigations. So,
Again, John Travis Johnson's confession.
so John Travis Johnson's word that it's me in that video.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And any other evidence that said I had anything to do with this prior to that video?
Mr. Roy Wilson again stating that you were part of the planning of the robbery of Paula Belmonte.
We'll take a look at that later. So at this point, you're taking Travis Johnson's story and Rory Wilson's story, correct? That's your evidence at this point.
in combination with Todd O'Quinn's statement of the way he went up to the CVS yelling for the police, yes.
And Todd O'Quinn's statement, and Todd O'Quinn was who?
One of the people that was in the house with Matthew Bonnett, in the trailer with Matthew Bonnett.
He was in the house in the trailer with Matthew Bonnett. He's the gentleman we saw running up the hill.
Yeah, with the flashlight, yes.
Yes. Okay. So he's that gentleman. That's the man we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that gentleman also say he's 100% sure it wasn't me over and over again?
I don't know. He didn't say that to me.
It was said. Okay. I'll have to go and pull up that video. Okay. So you're saying that Todd O'Quinn never said that you know of that it wasn't me?
Not to me, no, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. And now you did do the lineup with Todd O'Quinn, correct?
Yes, sir. I did one of the lineups.
Okay. And did Todd O'Quinn, was I included in that lineup or?
No, sir.
Okay. And who was included in that lineup?
John Travis Johnson.
Okay. Did Todd O'Quinn ever point to John Travis Johnson's picture in that lineup?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what did you point to him as lineup?
As being the person that
That's a lot of reasonable doubt right now in this case. I don't know if I would convict them.
What question did they ask when they were doing the lineup? When they asked him to point to a picture and say and identify anybody, what were they asking him? What were you guys asking?
Objection, hearsay.
Okay. Okay, fine. Ms. Malone, he points to John Travis Johnson, correct?
Objection.
Sustain the
Okay.
objection.
You won't be redundant here. Ms. Malone, okay, we've already established that, yes, again, John Travis Johnson's the picture that he pointed to, right?
Objection.
Ooh, 2 people, yay.
Sorry, I'm going to sustain the objection.
I was just looking for clarification. Okay, anyway, that's the answer. Okay, let's move on then. Okay, so John Travis Johnson, Rory Wilson, that's your.
Let's try to get
that's
it
your
10 to the
evidence
10 people.
suggesting I
stay
have
here.
anything to do with this at this point.
Objection, ask that.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
you said that based on your investigation, that's how you're identifying me in that video, correct?
yes, sir.
Okay, and your investigation was John Travis Johnson. Okay, anything else besides John Travis Johnson and Rory Wilson? I don't believe she answered that question.
Actually, she did.
Okay. Well, okay, so then we can move on. All right. So that's the extent of the investigation at that point that you know of. Okay. Anything else from the investigation prior to that, as far as your handling of evidence, your handling of videos? What was your duties in the investigation in those first 5 days?
Well, multiple. We did the first day,
Okay.
that night,
That might be easier.
I was directed to go interview the living victim, Paula Lamonte, in the hospital. I stayed with her the entire time she was in the hospital. And then I went with Sergeant Kellenberger, and we went and found Roger Ragu at his place of business, the QS Golf Course.
This would be the first night, right?
This is the first night.
Anything else the first or anything else the first night?
Not particularly. I was
Oh, can we put a pause right there?
Yep.
Just a second. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the first night you went to interview Paula Belamonte at the hospital.
yes, sir.
Okay. And during that interview with Paula Belmonte, did she tell you anybody who she thought, any suspects, any identifiers?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustain.
Okay. That it was me. I was asking because she's the one who completed the interview. Got it. Okay. Okay. All right. So, again, you did that. Then you went and you did another interview. What did you do after that?
We canvassed the area, that street, Laurel Avenue.
Okay.
I believe when I went home that night was about 4 or 5 a.m. the next morning.
Okay. And then you came back the next morning and
Next morning, I don't remember what time, but it wasn't late. It was before noon, I believe. We came back to the scene, and I believe it was that day, the next day, that Key West CSI finished up with the actual scene.
so it's the second day.
Yes, the second day.
And you came around noon, you said?
I don't remember the exact time.
Now, it was when you did come back on that second day, were you at the Treehouse or were you canvassing someplace else? What were you doing again?
I was at the Treehouse. I walked almost all of Stock Island
Oh, yeah.
that day looking for.
Okay. So, you guys were just looking for evidence around
Yeah.
the neighborhood, that kind
Yes,
of
sir.
stuff. Okay, gotcha. All right. Were you there for Detective Pitcher's interview with Todd O'Quinn?
The
At the
initial night,
Treehouse? No, at the Treehouse location.
the first night, I was there for,
Oh, okay.
I believe, a very small portion of it.
Oh, Todd O'Quinn's interview?
Yeah, the
Okay.
initial one that night. Yes.
Oh, thank you. It's wearable. Okay, the second, I was talking about the second interview during the daytime. He did it at the Treehouse, and I would assume you would have been there just because, it's about the same time.
I don't recall being there for that interview.
I just didn't.
I put like 8 miles on my shoes that second day walking
Alright, so you
Stock
weren't-
Island.
I'm sorry. So you weren't there.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, were you there when they brought Miss Paula Bellamont to the Treehouse that day?
The second day?
Second day.
No, I brought her to the Treehouse that night when she got released from the hospital,
And,
but not the second day.
and why'd you bring her back to the Treehouse that night?
They wanted to get ugly fingernail scrapings.
Okay, but you didn't bring her back the second day.
No,
Okay, and you weren't present when they did.
no.
Okay, good. All right, and were you there when Miss Anthea Clay was there
Maybe.
on the second day?
No, not on the second day. Maybe that initial night.
Oh, the first night. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first night you were there when they brought Anthea Clay to the crime scene.
I don't know. I wasn't there when they brought her to the crime scene, but she may have been around that night.
Okay, and according to your offense report, your affidavit, who is Miss Anthea Clay?
Anthea Clay was, I guess, a roommate at some point with Paula and Matthew Bonnett.
Mhm.
I'm not certain where she stayed on the property, but she stayed there at some point and had just left, like, very recently
Okay, and
for that incident.
okay, but in the affidavit you wrote, was she ever named as a suspect?
Yes, Paula stated that she believed Anthea Clay had something to do with setting up the robbery.
Was Paula the only one?
Hi, whoever joined us.
That's
I'm watching the
Just asking.
Treehouse murder trial.
that told me that
Oh.
she's the only one I remember.
Okay, I'm referring back to your affidavit again. Remember we were talking about your affidavit earlier?
Mhm.
I'm referring back to your affidavit. In your affidavit, in your statement, about the investigation, did you say that somebody else besides that actually named her as a suspect?
I don't recall.
Look at the affidavit again. Okay, so you've got Anthea Clay. You saw her the first night, correct?
I think I may have seen her.
Okay, good. And on that first night, okay, you said Paula named her as a suspect, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they brought her to the crime scene that night. You were there for that.
No, I believe I was with Paula still.
I thought you said I just a little off. Okay, maybe. But okay, so
Please
they brought
like
her
and
back down
subscribe.
there, again, Did you see her leave when she left the crime scene?
No,
Okay. Do you know where she came from before she got to the crime scene?
no, sir.
Okay. But they didn't arrest Anthea Clay.
No, sir.
Okay, just check. All right, so they didn't arrest her. Did they ever bring her back in for an interview that you know of?
I wasn't a part of it, but yes, I do believe they interviewed her at some point.
Okay. They interviewed her at some point. Do you remember approximately what?
I mean, probably a year or so after. Afterwards.
Year or so afterwards?
Yes, sir.
After what? Oh, after the crime happened?
After the crime happened,
Okay.
yeah, 2019-ish.
Okay, so after the crime happened. And, and you can't recall if she was named a suspect in your affidavit.
I wrote in my affidavit that Paula stated that Anthea Clay had set up the robbery.
Were there any CIs that they talked to in the affidavit?
Yes.
Confidential informants.
Yes.
Okay, and did this confidential informant say that Anthea Clay was a suspect? That's exactly right.
I believe I wrote that in my affidavit. I'd have to
So that would
look
be a
at it
second
to
person. that said she-
refresh.
I'm sorry.
I'd have to look at it to refresh. It's
Okay. And we may very well do that. That might be a good idea.
okay.
We could refresh the witnesses. Would that be fine, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, now we refresh your recollection. Do you remember a CI that says the same thing?
Yes, the
Okay.
CI stated that Paula had set up Anthea Clay and didn't return it. And it sounded like it was a drug deal that money didn't get exchanged. So in return, Anthea set up the robbery as payback.
Okay, so that's what's in the affidavit, is that Anthea Clay was setting this up as payback for something that Paul had done to her, allegedly.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that's in this affidavit. So that's definitely naming her as a suspect, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, you just told me a second ago that they interviewed Anthea Clay, but it wasn't until way after, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
A year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Is that I'm not sure if I heard correctly. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I believe it was sometime in 2019.
So 2019 from a crime that happened in 2017.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did anybody, that you know of, did they try to apprehend Miss Clay? Was there a warrant out for her arrest? She's a suspect.
No.
Okay, so to your knowledge, nobody ever put out a warrant for her?
No.
Okay, and did they ever do any other work trying to find Miss Clay? Did they, what attempts were made to find this murder suspect?
Juicy. J.
We never got to the point to classify her as a murder suspect, and I am unfamiliar with what attempts were made. That wasn't in my scope of the investigation to locate her.
Well, don't get me wrong. If I remember right, your scope in the investigation, you're right below the lead detective, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it wouldn't be in the scope of your investigation to know where a murder suspect is.
Anthea Clay never became a murder suspect during the course of our investigation.
Well, can you just tell me you had a witness that literally stated that, she set this crime up as payback?
Yes, we had two people that told us that Miss Clay had potentially set up this robbery.
I'm sorry. Did you ever make any attempts to interview her? Bring her in for an interview or to talk to her?
I did not. That was not part of my job in this investigation.
Okay. Do you know of anybody, besides yourself, who may have done this?
I don't know.
Okay. So, to your knowledge, they don't interview her, pick her up, or interview her until 2019.
I know that's when she got interviewed.
Okay. And did they arrest her after the interview?
No, sir.
Okay. And did the evidence still the same, or did it change, or is there a reason why she wasn't arrested?
Because she never rose to the level of a murder suspect in this investigation.
Two witnesses saying that she was?
Objection argumented.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Now, did you know, I want to know a little bit more about the Santa Fe Clay thing, just a little bit. Okay, it's Treehouse, I think I asked you if you were there, Miss Clay, when she was brought back to the Treehouse on the second day. You said no, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Okay, so you weren't there for this, but did they find any evidence that you know of from Miss Clay at the Treehouse on the second day that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Were you ever made aware of writings on a wall that were on the Treehouse wall?
Yeah, in like 2019, I believe.
You were made aware of those in 2019.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't know anything about those until then.
Correct.
Okay, good. And what were these writings on the wall purported to be?
Honestly, I don't
remember
know.
what they were?
No,
Okay.
sir.
And do you remember what evidentiary value they had?
No, sir.
Okay, so you, I don't know, you said you saw pictures, is that correct?
I may have seen a picture, but not that I recall. It was like spray paint words on a wall.
Okay, but you don't know who wrote them, and you don't know.
No, sir.
Okay, were you there for when they interviewed Miss Santa Fe Clay?
I was not.
So that would have been who interviewed her? Just out of fresh in my memory.
I believe that was Captain Phelps, Detective Corey, and maybe Detective Mueller.
Okay. All right, so that would be Detective Mueller, Detective Corey, and Captain Phelps.
Yes, sir.
And okay, again, we go back to the beginning of the investigation. So the first night, you said you took care of Paula, and then the next night, and then after that, it was Roger Roget, right? You interviewed him. Okay, so what did you do on the second day besides canvas? Anything?
I believe that was it.
Just canvassing for evidence, and you didn't find any?
No, I didn't.
Okay, what evidence were you there? What evidence were you there for when it was gathered?
I believe it was the second day they found a mask and a boat.
Okay, but you didn't collect it, somebody else did. Who was it that collected that evidence?
I don't know. I wasn't there when they found it. I just was told they found it.
Okay, so you're told they found it. Oh, you didn't actually see it.
I saw it.
Oh, okay.
As we were waiting for the crime scene detective, whichever one it was, come and get it.
Okay, so come and bag it and tag it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so, but you never found any evidence on that second day?
No, sir.
Okay, what would you do on the third day?
I believe more walking and canvassing Stock Island.
Do you remember knocking on any doors? I mean, do you remember what neighborhood you were canvassing in, where you were?
We were walking, a good majority of the time was in Water's Edge Trailer Park. That's not there anymore, but it was just down the street from where the Treehouse was.
Okay.
In that area, and then focusing on 2nd Street that goes past Tom Thumb, the fire station, Florida Keys Electric, and then the warehouse
Okay.
in that area.
So just that little part of the neighborhood in Stock Island.
Yes, that general area.
It just kind of reminded me something about the Florida Keys Electric video. That was, for the record, was that the video that I had you replay up there? The moment, we were talking about Travis Johnson, that stuff.
Yes, I believe that was the Florida Keys Electric.
Okay, just want to make sure. And how much time of the video did they give? How much time did you guys collect? Do you remember?
I don't
on that
know.
video?
I don't know.
You don't remember? Okay, yeah, I collected that. I forgot. But do you know of any more than the 7? I think it's 7 minutes. I want to say, whatever that video is in length. Did you guys ever get any more from Florida Keys Electric that you know of?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so not too much. Okay, so back to you're canvassing the neighborhood and you're going through all the different locations, that are close to there. I guess was it the Tom Thumb, the fire department, the Treehouse, and you said Water's Edge Trailer Park. Okay, so you didn't find anything in those areas, is what you told us. This would be the third day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're on the third day, nothing there. What'd you do on the fourth day?
The fourth day, I believe, I spent a good majority of the time watching surveillance videos.
Okay, watching surveillance. And what were the surveillance videos? Did you collect them yourself, or did somebody bring them to you, or?
Most of them were brought to us by different detectives.
Okay, it's different detectives bringing them in from different places, right? Like the CVS or whatever, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. But you're reviewing them, checking them out to see what you find.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. And okay, so while you're doing this, these surveillance videos, again, which places were you actually reviewing? Was it which videos?
It was mainly CVS's.
The CVS's videos?
Yes.
Okay, and did you collect all the tapes from CVS, or did they give you all the tapes from CVS?
I believe so. There's hours upon hours.
I seem to remember the same thing.
Okay.
Yes. Now, but you believe they gave you all the video footage they had from CVS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there weren't any cameras broken? There weren't any cameras that were malfunctioning or anything like that?
Not that I recall.
Okay, good. And did you find anything in the CVS videos that you were reviewing?
No, sir.
Okay, so they weren't really of evidentiary value, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other videos besides CVS?
At that time, no, I don't believe so. I believe it was
Just
the CVS videos.
so just the CVS videos. This would be the fourth day?
Yes.
Day?
Yeah, the fourth.
So what'd you do on the fifth day?
The fifth day, I believe, is the day that I assisted with the photo lineup with Tyrone Quinn. We also got the Cosme video on the fifth day.
Okay, do you remember when you got the video?
I do not.
I don't remember if it was in the morning or the afternoon.
I believe it was late.
Okay.
I believe it was
more in the evening.
more in the evening.
Okay, so more than. And okay, now let's see, 17th. I said we're on day 5, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so that would be 17th to the 18th, 19th, 20th, and then 21st. Okay, what did you do on the 21st?
The 21st.
Oh, actually, that would be the 5th day. Would be the 21st. Now, again, you just said that you were reviewing videos. Did you do anything else that day?
Not that I recall.
Did you guys perhaps conduct a no-knock raid on the warehouse on the 21st?
Yeah, that might have been the 21st.
Okay, was Mr. Wilson taken into custody on the 21st?
I would have to refresh my memory as to the exact date that happened.
Did they? Okay, you were, if I remember correctly, you were there. So when I went brought in to the station on the 21st, was I brought in handcuffs?
Yes, I do believe so, sir.
Okay, and now did you at one time say I was free to go?
I don't know if I said it, but somebody did.
Okay, and but I'm in handcuffs. right?
I don't recall.
Anyway, so I'm brought in on the 21st. We established that because that was the night of the no-knock raid. Now, the no-knock raid, you took myself and Rory Wilson down to the headquarters, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not you personally. Somebody else drove me. Okay. And this is where you did the initial interviews with the suspects, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, you know, like I said, you know, at some point, as I remember, we did the interviews together somewhere. But okay, in the interview process, was I taken out of the interview room and taken downstairs and put in a squad car, still in handcuffs,
You were placed back into handcuffs.
and put down in a squad car, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how long was I down there?
I don't know offhand.
What was the purpose of putting me down there?
I believe so we can interview Rory.
Okay. Now, was I still free to go at any time?
At that time, no, I don't know. I would say no. You were in handcuffs in the back of a police car.
Okay. Was I in handcuffs in back of a police car when I left the warehouse to come back? Or when I entered this, I should say, because you were at the station, when I entered the station, did I enter in handcuffs?
I don't recall.
Okay, this would be after that. Okay, so were you at the raid itself?
I was.
Okay, and did you initiate the search warrant for that raid?
Did I write the search warrant?
Did you go and seek the search warrant?
Yes.
Okay, and you're the one who got the search warrant for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what did you write the search warrant for, specifically?
For any and all evidence that could be found at whatever the warehouse's exact address on 2nd Street.
Okay, the address of the warehouse is a big place.
Yes, sir.
So was it the address for the entire warehouse, or was it just that one spot?
It was the address for the warehouse, but I do believe I specified the living areas where Rory Wilson
Okay.
was at.
Okay, so Rory Wilson's apartment.
Yes.
Okay, was Rory Wilson's apartment attached to the upstairs of the warehouse?
Honestly, it was all attached.
Was it considered the same spot? I mean, like, okay, a lot of apartments and apartment buildings are attached, but that doesn't mean they're the same apartment. Was it the same spot as far as, was it the same apartment, or was it a different apartment upstairs?
To my knowledge, it was the same apartment.
And, okay, what led you to believe that?
Because I didn't know anything else about the warehouse other than it was sectioned off into apartments.
Okay, and how long were you at the warehouse? When that night, I don't know, so I'd like to ask.
Maybe 20 minutes?
20 minutes, and when was this, when they first came in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so were you there at the front door, or were you at the back?
I was at the front door.
Okay, in the front door. And now the front door is the one they took me out of, correct?
I don't know.
Okay, but okay. But here's the thing, it's okay. So you were at the front door, but you weren't close enough to see whether or not I was the one that they pulled from upstairs.
Correct. I was there at the front to set the perimeter around so where I was at when they executed the search warrant was all the way out at the street,
Okay.
watching the street and kind of the sides of the very large building.
Good.
The
Yeah.
warehouse.
You just explain to the jury, the whole idea of the perimeter, what you're doing with the perimeter when you did that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, explain to them what you're doing when you're doing, what are you doing when you're setting the perimeter? Why did you do it?
In case somebody, when we executed the search warrant, in case somebody fled out of the building, we would be out far enough to be able to detain them, apprehend them, find out who they are.
So back to that. So the idea from the beginning was to detain me, right? To detain me, not just Rory Wilson, but to detain me.
I didn't know who you were, sir.
Okay, so you didn't know who I was at that point.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, you don't know, but you know who I was after I got to the station, correct?
Mhm.
So when I get to the station, where do I go from there? Do you remember?
After we were done with the interviews?
After they brought me into the station, what'd you guys do with me?
Interviewed you.
Thank you. Ms. Malone, what did you guys, I'm in handcuffs. Coming into the station, what did you, you're there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and who else was there? Do you remember?
Detective Pitcher was there.
Okay. And anybody else?
Probably Captain. Specifically, that would have been there.
So who brought me in? Who brought me in? Where'd they put me? It wasn't you, correct?
It was not me.
Okay, so it wasn't me. When's the first time you met?
In the interview room.
In the interview room. Okay, so we're in the interview room. You just brought me in. I would assume your intentions were to question me, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you guys ask me a bunch of questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at the end of those questions, did they let me go? Did they allow me to leave the station?
Yes, after the interview, you were free to leave and you left.
Okay, and so is it safe to assume that there wasn't, in your opinion or in the lead detective's opinion, whoever's making the decision, it wasn't enough to arrest me?
Correct.
Okay, and okay, so afterwards, I'm obviously free. I get arrested the same, was it the night, the 22nd, because I remember that 21st went to the 22nd. But okay, that night, what changed in between 21st and the 22nd when I get arrested?
During your interview and Rory Wilson's interview, you both put yourselves with John Travis Johnson.
Well, it's, we might have to watch that too. But okay, so the thing is,
We'll sustain the objection again. There's no commentary.
I'll watch myself. Okay, Miss Malone, you said that I was brought in because of that. What I'm saying is our interviews were done on the 21st, right? Rory Wilson's and mine, the ones that you just said that we used John Travis Johnson as an alibi or whatever, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I was let go after that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you're saying I was arrested for those same two interviews. So why wasn't I arrested at that point?
Because we had not interviewed John Travis Johnson yet.
Okay, so it was John Travis Johnson's interview that got me arrested.
That was the final, to put it all together, everything that we knew. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now don't get me wrong. Rory Wilson allegedly testified that or made statements about me. It's not again, it's alleged that it's Rory Wilson allegedly made statements about me, correct?
Yes, he stated that you were there during the planning of the
I
robbery.
was asking whether or not he made statements. I didn't ask what he said.
Sorry. Yes.
Now, okay, so that is what you're alleging here. And okay, John Travis Johnson allegedly made statements against me, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and those are the two things. Anything else in this investigation? So far, we're up to day 5 when I get arrested. Anything else in this investigation saying that, saying I had something to do with this?
The Cosme video.
And the Cosme video, you just said not too long ago, correct me if I'm wrong, that Cosme video, you can't tell who's in the video, that you decided who's in the video based on the investigation.
Correct.
Okay, and your investigation was Rory Wilson and John Travis Johnson at this point, right?
Correct.
So you're saying that their word tells you that I'm the guy in the video.
Correct.
Okay, and even though you can't see me, you can't see me in the video. So it's just them saying it's me, that's a good enough, right?
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe I should clarify myself just a little bit. I guess I'm a little nervous or whatever. But here's the thing. Video. When we were watching the video, we established that yes, you could not see anybody in that video, right?
I could see people, body shapes,
Body
body
shape.
made,
But not make an identification.
not faces. No, sir.
Right, no faces. Okay, and now you just testified that the only investigation that you knew of me, right, was from Rory and Travis.
And the Cosme video.
Well, again, this is what we're talking about, this Cosme video. Cosme video, you said you can't identify anybody in it, right? So, okay, if you can't identify anybody in it, I'm asking how that is evidence against me at that point.
Yes, this is argumentative, and ask and answer.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, well, we'll move on. Okay, so I get arrested, right? Do you remember were you there when they arrested me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they took me, if I remember correctly, took me over to the jail, and would that be?
Tucker's testifying.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
Sustain the objection. This is testimonial.
Okay. Okay. Did you see me again after I went to jail?
When I got the buccal swab.
Vocal swab. Now, you'll have to refresh my memory because I don't remember you taking a vocal swab from me. But did you? Could you please tell me what day that was?
I would have to look at
Now,
the
did
property receipt to refresh my memory as to what day it was.
I'd be perfectly happy to let you do that because I honestly don't remember, and I don't remember if you did do one on me. So, the thing is, do you remember? Again, you put it into evidence, correct? Is there any other buccal swabs from me that you know of?
Not that I know of, no, sir.
Okay, so that's the DNA that was used for the FDLE report. Is that correct?
I would assume so. That's not my purview, but
Oh, but you bagged it and you tagged it, right?
and turned it in.
And then it goes from that to whoever is going to do the testing or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Right, gotcha. Okay. All right, so we're at that stage. Now, did you interview any of the witnesses in the case?
I was there when Roosevelt Washington was interviewed.
Okay, Roosevelt Washington.
Yes.
Did he say I had anything to do with this? Or did he have any evidence, anything of evidentiary value to add to your investigation?
No.
Okay, so nothing from Roosevelt Washington, right? And please tell me, tell the jury actually who Roosevelt Washington was and why you would even be interviewed.
He was in the trailer with Matthew Bonnett when the robbery occurred.
Okay, so this is another person who was on scene when it actually happened.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but he didn't have anything to say really of evidentiary value.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So moving on. Any other witnesses that that you actually talked to?
I talked to one subject, Odom. I don't remember his first name.
Would that be
One of the neighborhood canvases,
Would it be Austin Odom?
probably,
Okay. And do you remember why he was of interest to you?
because we were talking to all kinds of people that were in the area, and he lived at the warehouse.
Okay, so lived at the warehouse. To be clear, was it thought that we were all living at the warehouse?
I believe Paula stated that she thought Detroit lived there.
She's gotten a trike lift there.
That Detroit, Roy Wilson,
Detroit lived there. Gotcha.
lived there.
Could you please again tell them who Detroit? AKA
Detroit
is?
is the street name for Rory Wilson.
Okay. Now, you're saying because you got information that Detroit lived there, right? Now, how did you guys obtain this information?
That was, I believe Paula told me that in her interview.
She told you?
That he lived in a warehouse, possibly on Front Street, but she wasn't certain, but
Okay.
it was in that area.
Now, could you, if I let you refer again back to your affidavit, would you have wrote the same thing in your affidavit?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you write the same thing, what you just said to us in your affidavit, that you had found that out by Paula Belamonte's statements?
I don't know if I wrote that in my affidavit or not.
Okay, but do you remember what you wrote in your affidavit?
I remember a majority of what I wrote. It's
Just,
4 pages long.
okay, no, I'm sorry. I was just not that one, right? That one you don't remember.
I don't remember if I wrote that in there or not.
Okay. Just want to clarify. All right, so do you remember what else you wrote in that affidavit?
Can you be more specific?
Okay, about my part in the crime. Do you remember how I came about to be a suspect?
Yes.
Okay, and how was that?
We had found out that Rory Wilson had been at Metro PCS to pay a phone bill with another subject.
Was I a subject at that point?
No,
Okay, so I was nobody at this point.
correct.
Okay, and
Well, I'm gonna check you asked a question. I thought that was your answer.
well, that's just
I'm with the objection.
I apologize. I just,
I overruled the objection. I didn't see a problem.
okay. Miss Malone, okay. Again, how did I become a suspect as far as, okay, you didn't know anything about me at this point, Metro PCS, phone bill, please continue.
I believe Metro PCS gave us your name because I believe it was you that was actually paying your phone bill. And then two of the general crimes detectives that was assisting us went over to, I believe, the warehouse and talked to you, and you gave us the name of Rory Detroit Wilson.
Okay. Did they say I acted suspicious or that there was something that, something I did that made me a suspect at that point?
No,
Okay, so I'm still not a suspect, right?
no, sir.
Okay, and so please continue. Where'd we go after that? How did it, again, how do I become a suspect?
Once we determined the legal name of Detroit, because that's all that Paula could give us was street name Detroit, and there's shockingly quite a few people that go by the street name Detroit. Once we were able to get a name for him, that's when we prepared the search warrant for where Detroit Rory Wilson was living at the warehouse. When we executed the search warrant at the warehouse, Mr. Tucker, you were there.
Okay, but just to, again, I'm not trying to stop you in your middle of your statement. But since we're going to pause, I just want to pause right there. Okay, so still not a suspect, right?
No, sir.
Okay, so was my name on there to be detained?
I don't believe anybody's name was on there to be detained.
I thought you said you went and got it for Rory Wilson's apartment.
I did.
Okay, so was Rory Wilson supposed to be detained if he was a suspect of being Detroit?
That's the standard practice with the sheriff's office when we execute a search warrant. Every individual that's in that premise is detained.
Okay, please, and this is my ignorance, and I'm going to actually ask you to explain to the jury because I'm ignorant of these things. Please explain to them the whole process as far as the search warrant thing. What do you do to get a search warrant? What is it that, again, how do you go about this process? When you go from writing it to getting it to executing?
Well, in order to get a search warrant, we get everything that we know at the time that we want to try to go and search a place. We write it out in an affidavit. We have to have what they determine probable cause. We have to have a reason why we're going to this house. We laid it out based on that Paula had identified Rory Wilson Detroit as the guy that held a knife to her throat and punched her a whole bunch of times in the face while demanding her purse. We now know who he is. So now we want to go search his house because she identified him and we want to see what evidence is in the house. Once we as the detectives, once I wrote the search warrant, I then give that form to the state attorney because they're the lawyers and everything, and they look at it and they say yay or nay as to whether or not there's enough to bother a judge with to sign the search warrant. The state attorneys at the time determined, yes, we had enough. We woke up a judge, and the judge actually met me at the sheriff's office headquarters, signed the search warrant, and then once we have that signed search warrant, depending on the type of search warrant it is, and this search warrant was for the residence of a murder suspect, we had our SWAT team execute the search warrant because when there's that type of crime, there's a danger to everybody involved. And they're trained in doing that, and they do it all the time. Us detectives that don't do that stuff, we set the perimeter, which is what I did. I was on the perimeter. They executed the search warrant, which there's a lot of, they have to read it to the occupants. And again, whenever we do a search warrant, be it for, especially on a residence, everybody that's in that residence is going into handcuffs. pretty much immediately. And they're detained.
Is that about it?
Yeah, I believe so. I think I covered it.
Okay, good. Thank you for explaining that to him. Okay, so now going back to the search warrant and executed and how you get it and all that stuff. Is it based on an address or is it based on the subject? Is it based on the person or on the address?
Honestly, it depends on the type of search warrant.
I'm talking about the one you wrote. Do you
It was
remember?
based on the address.
It's based on the address. So Rory Wilson wasn't actually considered, there's nothing in there saying detain Rory Wilson.
Not that I recall.
Okay, but did you have the intentions on detaining Rory Wilson if you saw him there?
Absolutely.
Okay, because he's a murder suspect. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so, again, you're going there, you have the search warrant for Rory Wilson's apartment, and you're going there with the intention of detaining Rory. Okay, now again, is there any reason to detain me at this point?
Because you're in the apartment.
Just because I'm in the apartment, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you agree that if you went into apartments, right, say it was apartment complex, what happens when you go into the wrong apartment?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever done that.
Well, again, as far as search warrants go, it has to be for that specific location. You can't just get a search warrant and go wherever you want, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's very specific, right? Okay, was Rory Wilson renting the upstairs?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Did anybody else know that was there?
Not that I know of.
So nobody knew this. Did you have a meeting before you go and execute this, or do you guys just go over there and knock on the door?
No, we had a meeting prior.
Okay. So you had a meeting prior, and again, you're not specific though. You're not very sure about which areas are Rory Wilson's and which ones are not.
Correct, because we're talking about a warehouse that was makeshift into apartments.
Okay. Makeshift into apartments, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Big warehouse though, right?
Yes, very
Okay.
big warehouse.
And lots of different sections of those, right?
Lots of doors. I never fully went inside it, so I couldn't.
Okay. Well, based on when you were inside of it, did it seem like there were walls that separated out the different sections, or was
Yes.
it okay? It was just one big open room.
No, there was walls, and it was made into an apartment. There was a bathroom. I
And
remember
so-
that. I believe there was a bedroom.
So you didn't search any of the other sections or the other apartments in those sections.
I didn't search any.
Did anybody search those
I-
apartments?
I don't know, sir.
I'm just asking. I'm asking you, not okay. I know where you guys executed the warrant, right?
Yes.
Any of the other sections that we just talked about, those sections in that warehouse where there's other apartments or other whatever people are renting, right? Did you guys search any of those?
No.
Okay. And again, why wouldn't you search those?
Because that's not where Rory Wilson lived.
Right, because that's not where Rory Wilson lived. Now, Rory Wilson, according to, again, the documents that have been submitted, I guess, that was his apartment in the back, right?
I don't remember if it was back or front, but yes.
Okay. And do you remember him having any other door other than the one that was in the warehouse?
There was one in the front, and then there was one in the back of the
No,
warehouse.
that's even why we said that, right? That you were at the front.
Yes.
And there were other people who came in from the back.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. And then that was targeted as Rory Wilson's apartment. Okay. Again, so you wouldn't know or have known whether or not the upstairs was part of Rory Wilson's apartment.
No, I would not have known that.
Okay. And had the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, had it ever been to that specific section of the warehouse prior to the no-knock raid on there that you know of?
Not that I know of, but probably.
Okay. Just I'm curious because I don't know whether you got knocked on that door ever before. That's what I'm asking. Okay, so this is your first time at the warehouse, Rory Wilson's apartment. And did they take anything of evidentiary value out of that you know of?
They took evidence, but I was not there. I don't know what all they took.
Okay, so you didn't take any, but
No.
they did take evidence.
They
from
took
there.
stuff,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And you don't know if it had evidentiary value or not.
I do not.
Okay. All right. So okay, now we're up to, let's see, just before I get arrested, right? Or just when I got arrested. okay, what was your involvement with the investigation after all the suspects had been arrested?
Not much.
Okay. And we talked about Anthony Clay, suspect still at large, right?
Correct. Not a suspect, but somebody we wanted to interview.
Okay, you want to interview her, but again, don't want to get redundant here. But okay. So, again, according to your affidavit, she's, again, been named a suspect by a few different witnesses.
Yes.
Okay. But she's not a suspect to go and try and find.
That wasn't my.
So what was, you said there wasn't much involvement for you after this, right? As far as after Rory and me and Travis were all arrested, right? But there's not much involvement for you after that.
No, just the search warrant of
Truck.
the truck and the recovery of Paula's backpack.
Okay. Let's get back to the search on the truck, because that reminds me of that. The search on the truck. Again, go there. We've already established that it wasn't impounded for 10, 15, 20 days.
It wasn't searched.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. Well, in that case, was the truck ever impounded? We haven't established that it was impounded. Okay. Okay. What happened to the truck afterwards?
We left it where it was parked.
Left it where it was parked. Okay. Did anybody ever come to collect the truck?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Okay. Let's get back to the search of it. Now you said, that Captain Phelps was there. You were there. Who's CCPO? I was just going to ask about.
Excuse me. Let's see if there's something that has.
Okay. Who's CC Hoverson?
She is a deputy that works in the training division.
Okay. And why was she at this search of a vehicle used in a homicide?
For learning and training purposes.
She was learning.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, did the forensics guy, you said John Underwood that was there, if I remember correctly,
Yes, sir.
did he search the vehicle?
I believe he did.
Okay. You believe he did, but do you know he did?
I don't recall if he did or not.
Okay. And you said the search, if you remember right, that you videotaped the search, right? So would John Underwood be on that video checking out the truck?
I don't recall if he
Did
searched the truck.
Okay. You don't recall if he searched the truck at all. Do you remember, I would imagine he would have went before you. So, do you remember a reason why or why not he wouldn't?
I really, it was 6 years ago. I don't remember who.
Did you search the truck?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you find?
I would have to look at my report for everything. We found drug paraphernalia. We found some masks, some knives.
Okay, some masks, some knives, some drug paraphernalia.
And
Pretty, was any of that taken into evidence?
Yes.
Okay, good. And
Knowledge.
okay, so none of that. Did you guys do anything special with it? Did you? How did you go about again, is there a procedure for it? Is there something that, a certain way you have to do it, anything like that?
Then, just other than the same standard, writing the search warrant, having the state look at it, saying yay or nay, and then having a judge look at it and saying yes or no, signing it, and then there's procedural things where we've got to record us reading the search warrant. Like in case of a house, we'd read it to the occupants. In the case of an unoccupied truck, we'd read it to the unoccupied truck. And then paperwork that we have to give to the owner of the truck, stuff like that, but nothing Other than that,
Okay. Ms. Malone, now at this point you're a detective, Detective Malone, right?
Yes, sir.
Homicide detective, correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. And do you think it would have been prudent to take a vehicle that's been used in homicide, to impound it? I'm asking for expertise. The homicide detective, I would assume they have.
Opinion on that? Question?
The issue with the truck was the time delay and us actually knowing where the truck was. And we did have our crime scene guy do, like, you could do blood, check for blood on stuff with lights and glasses, and he didn't see anything that would have been overly impactful, so there didn't seem to be a reason to impound the truck.
Didn't you just say a second ago he didn't look at the truck?
All right, I misspoke. I don't remember what he did, but now that as we're talking about it, I remember him looking at that type of stuff.
Blood and what'd you say else?
Looking for if there was blood.
Okay, but he did do that, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Take a look at that.
I think it's
I was-
I think that this is about to stop.
I think so too, Your Honor. Thank you. Section.
Again, we thank you for your patience, your attentiveness during our morning session. We're going to resume at 1:30. So follow the usual cautionary instructions. Return at 1:30 and pick up the problem.
Them.
Thank you for that heads up.
Can I ask a quick scheduling question? We have the jury come back at 1:30. I've had Travis Johnson here all day yesterday, and I haven't here yet today. Do you anticipate we're going to get, that will be our next witness. Do you anticipate that we're going to get to him today and get started with him, or do you think it'd be more prudent to start fresh with him on Tuesday? I'm just looking for some guidance from the court. You want me to leave him here waiting? It'll be 1:30. Mr. Tucker has more cross to do yet. We have to redirect.
Well, I guess it's kind of, Mr. Tucker's got to give us an idea of an estimate as to the length of his remaining cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's why I actually did say to the prosecution that I thought that this witness was probably going to take up the rest of the day. I was honest with them about that when we came back from break.
Well, so I think we could probably release Johnson and just see him on Tuesday.
All right, sounds good. All right.
waste of time. There's some things that don't need to require the videos. So I'd go proceed with those and wait for the video later.
Okay. Bring in the jury, please.
All jurors present in the courtroom, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. Good afternoon, members of the jury. Welcome back from lunch. Hope it was pleasant. Thank you for your patience. We had to attend to a couple other details, so I know you waited in the jury room patiently, and I do appreciate it. But we're ready to continue with the cross-examination and the latest witness, State versus Tucker. Witness, please come back on the witness stand. Good afternoon, and just remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we can proceed with the continued cross-examination.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for being patient. It's been rough with technical things. Ms. Malone, now you said you are no longer a detective, no longer a homicide detective. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what department do you work in now?
I still work for the sheriff's office. I work in the 911 center.
Okay. Is that a civilian position or is that a batch position?
It's a civilian position.
And how did you come to be in that position?
I requested to go into dispatch.
Okay. Do you?
Well, the state's seen the document. Well, regardless.
May we approach?
Yes. approach the witness. Okay?
It is a letter of recommendation from, I believe it was Major Shabilia, that I no longer be a major crimes detective.
Now, you just testified that this move down to dispatch was voluntary, correct?
It was, yes.
Okay. Major Scabilia is your boss, correct?
He's the boss of pretty much everybody at the sheriff's office, yes.
Okay. And in this letter, he's making a recommendation that what?
That I not be a detective, but I still was going to be a cop.
Did he give a reason? You're still going to be a cop.
Yes,
Okay. You just told me you're not in a badge position.
because I requested a non-badge position.
Okay, good. Clarify that. Okay. What else did it say in this report, this recommendation for? Why did he give? What reason did he give as to why he didn't want you to be a major crimes detective?
I had fallen behind on paperwork on some of my cases in 2019.
And how many cases was that?
I don't know the exact numbers.
Do you remember reading this recommendation?
5 years ago.
Would you like me to refresh you and let you look at it? Okay, and 11 cases out of 17 is what he says. And as now, he didn't say they were for paperwork. What did he say they were for?
I didn't read that far. Investigated deficiency, I believe, was one of the words he used.
Well, did he say these are two examples?
Yeah, I was to see
Okay.
the bounds of what I allowed.
Okay. Well, being that you just read this, it wasn't over paperwork, correct?
It was over paperwork.
It's again for impeachment purposes, Your Honor.
She's been impeached. You've established the basis for going into the situation.
Except for that is not correct. She was fired, or not fired. Well, was demoted, according to this document I just showed her.
Mr. Tucker, I've made my decision. I was over the rejection from the state. I allowed you to show.
Okay.
I allowed you to
Okay.
questionnaire, but that's as far as
Okay.
I think the rules of law.
Did your boss discuss this with you at all?
No.
I'm sorry. He was major at the time, right? He's a lieutenant colonel now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did Major Scabilia? Did he talk to you about why you were being demoted? Why he
No,
recommended
they
your
sent it
demotion?
to me in an email.
Okay, they sent it to you in an email?
Yes.
He didn't discuss it with you at all?
No.
So what he sent you is the document I have.
Yes.
And again, so that's not exactly voluntarily going down to dispatch, was it?
Being removed as a detective is not a demotion. A detective is just a deputy that works in a specialized unit. I was being moved to road patrol at the time. As I stepped back from after being in major crimes for a little over 2 years and the things that I had seen, and over the course of my law enforcement career, I knew for me, I couldn't do it anymore. So I voluntarily gave up my badge and gave up my job as a cop so I wouldn't have to see them things anymore.
So you're saying it had nothing to do with this recommendation from Chad Scabilia?
No,
And, he never said that it was It's insufficient investigation. If she ever heard that from her boss.
If you ask, and I sustain the objection.
Okay. So in your mind, there was no reason other than you wanted to go down.
I'm sorry.
In your mind, there was no reason other than when you wanted to, again, switch departments. You didn't want to wear the badge.
Correct. I did not want to deal with the things that cops have to see on a daily basis anymore.
Okay, and let's go ahead and we'll go on to something else because I come back to this. But I go grab something else here on.
Yes.
Going back to the buccal swabs, right? You collected a buccal swab from me. You said you also collected one from, was it Rory?
Yes, sir.
It's Rory Wilson and myself. Would you, and after those buccal swabs went to the lab, did you ever get the results? Did you ever see the results of those buccal swabs?
Not that I recall.
Okay, so the results went to somebody else.
Correct.
Okay. And do you remember who that might be?
Probably Detective Pitcher, but I don't know.
Okay. And did you and Detective Pitcher, did you guys work together, or did you discuss everything about the investigation? I mean, were you working the case together?
In the first beginning of the case, yes. After the first week or so, no.
Okay, so could you tell me who was working the case after that first week or so?
Detective Pitcher,
By himself?
yes.
Okay. All right, just checking because I wanted the timeline here. Okay, so you didn't get the results from those. You just collected the samples.
Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, before the lunch break, and I could have them read it back for me. I'm not only asking because of time. Did you say, you never said that you saw Travis in the truck? That you saw Travis sitting in the truck in the video?
That I said I never saw Travis sitting in the
No,
truck?
that you said you saw Travis sitting in the truck in the video.
I did not say that.
Okay, good.
I don't know. He's asking how to place some sort of drive in the mechanism.
Judge, unfortunately, Mr. Muller, who was here earlier, he was feeling well, he was sick yesterday. He just came in the main session.
I don't mind. Me too, but you can see if Carrie's here. I'm sure he could assist. Carrie being the head of our tech department. Yes, if he's Yes. What? Okay, thank you. I hear the door opening as we speak. try. All right. Any other questions while he's here, or? Yeah, sure. One of those points where I have to excuse you for a few minutes. I don't believe it will be too lengthy, but it's necessary. All right, so the jurors are gone, so we remain on the record here, unless you all want to review it outside, off the record outside the court's presence. So let me just try to figure it out. So what was placed in there is not what you thought it was? Is that what? In any event, if this is forthcoming, why don't you, I'm going to step down, why don't you listen to what it is so we don't have to go through that process. This is something you're going to use later on.
Identification. I don't want to go for that.
that's off the record, or probably shouldn't have dealt with ahead of time. Nevertheless, here we are. So if you want to take a look at a couple of things, so any issues you can raise with me, so perhaps we can avoid breaking again with the judge. So let me know when you need me. Okay. corroborating evidence about Mr. Tucker being?
Mr. Tucker being involved in the crime. Mr. Tucker's assertion is that that's choosing to be impeached because on the video, after Travis Johnson gave his statement, after he gave his statement, which implicated this defendant, after that statement, they asked him to watch the videos. He watched the videos and he said, I cannot ID this defendant in the video. That does not mean she was lying about having corroborating evidence. He's very conveniently omitting the 90-minute interview he gave that he articulated very concisely that this defendant was involved in the planning and the execution of the crime. Now he wants to feature with the portion of that statement at the end where after he gave an oral statement, they said, okay, now that you give that and we believe you, we think you're credible, we'd like you to look at these videos. And they ask him to look at the videos. He looks at the video and he's like, man, I think that might be my truck, but the headlights look a little different, and I can't say if that's a tie or not. That doesn't mean that she didn't have corroborating evidence. She did have corroborating evidence, but the video itself was not. And she kept saying today in her testimony, I know who that was in the truck based on Travis Johnson's testimony. Travis Johnson's testimony articulated that he drove them over there, they got out of the truck and went to the Treehouse. But she never said that she could ID him in the video. She actually said this morning, I can't even see who the driver is. And I can't make out the faces of the people who got out of the truck. So where's the impeachment there?
Well, let's hear what Mr. Tucker has to say.
Your Honor, I don't care if she gave 90 minutes worth of, other statements, other corroborating, again, where he corroborated his whole story. His whole story could corroborate everything except to when he gets to the point where he says something different. When he actually changes his story, that's when it becomes a problem, and yes, she was there, right there, reviewing the tapes with him when he says something different. So it's not corroborated. So it wasn't corroborated.
What difference did he say?
He said he couldn't see if it was his truck. He couldn't tell who either individual was in the video, and that again, he couldn't identify that or corroborate that as the video of the incident.
You're taking her testimony you're viewing it too narrowly. She's talking about the totality of what he told her, not one specific instance. So that's not,
Well,
in my view, admissible impeachment.
No, I know. And again, this is one of a few different videos and audios, and we were just having a discussion about this. The problem, from what I understand, is that they don't want the entire section or the entire video played just for the section where I'm using it for impeachment. Again, a very simple one is the IA tape that I was going to play, the one that's still downloading. That one, yeah, she specifically says.
I thought we were talking about this one here. Right?
Well, I mean, yes, we've talked about all of them, Your Honor. That's we were talking about all of them.
I know, but I'm focusing on the one objection that's now
okay.
before me.
The objection to that specific video. Okay, again, I gave you my argument. Basically, look, she asked him to identify what's in that video. He cannot. Which, again,
you can certainly cross-examine Mr. Johnson, but the way I construed her testimony was, and first of all, frankly, I've been extremely liberal in my view, because a lot of this questioning of her arguably isn't even admissible, because what her opinion is and what her conclusions are really aren't the issue. But nevertheless, I've given great leeway to attempt to impeach her by suggesting at one point that Johnson couldn't ID who was in the vehicle. She was talking about the totality
of his statement.
So I'm going to sustain the state's objections.
Okay. Other impeachment videos. We were talking specifically about a hot mic video that they're aware of. They've seen it. I've seen it. Where again, Danielle Malone said multiple times up on the stand today that they didn't know I wasn't a suspect at the time they did the raid on the warehouse. Right? She specifically said that. Right? I still wasn't a suspect. Right? This video, again, you can only get audio from it. You couldn't get the video from it, just the audio. But the audio, yes, she knew I was considered a suspect long before that raid ever happened. She was there when I was named a suspect.
I'm just concerned, excuse me, Mr. Mansfield. I'm just concerned. I've got a jury waiting out here.
I know.
And it feels like this is a matter that is just going to balloon here, and I'm not sure that we're not going to have more discussions.
You're on.
Ideally, like, all this stuff ideally should have been ironed out ahead of time, but like, here we are now. So.
Well, Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
You know, I agree with you totally. It's, you know, my problems with doing it earlier today is, again, you know, it was a technical problem because, okay, I have the things on my computer on whatever drive I have them on. Getting them onto the screen is a different story. The other thing is reviewing these things so the state is okay with whatever I'm putting up there. We haven't had a chance to do. And I'd like to offer the state the opportunity to do that. But, you know, here we are. And, you know, it's like.
Judge, if I may just respond to the other video, thank you for impeachment. During the investigation, there are many names that are bandied about. There are people of interest, people that want to talk to you, what have you. At what point this defendant even identify the suspects you don't know? It sounds like he's had a portion where she says, I don't know if she's calling him a suspect or something they were already aware of. I don't know that it's clear cut impeachment because I don't know where the impeachment is. Having said that, we do need to listen to that. He refers to this hotline. I'm familiar with the hotline scenario. I don't know what portion he's trying to use. He said it's a little knowledge. So I would tell Your Honor, maybe we should send the jury home for the day. We stay and work these issues out.
I don't see much alternative, quite frankly. And again, I'm not here to point fingers or assign blame, but normally the reciprocal discovery, the defense would say, listen, you've got this, this, and this. It'd be viewed, would be redacted in the event that there's portions that required redacting, and the judge would be called upon to make these sorts of decisions once the respective sides had done what they could to narrow the issues. For whatever reason, we don't find ourselves in that posture, and I'm concerned that we're going to be going back and forth here, so I don't know how many more of these things, Mr. Tucker, you have lined up. But
There's a few, Your Honor, and to be honest, I agree with the prosecution. I think that is the best solution, is that we can send the jury home and we take a look at these things so that way we don't run into these issues. And I will go ahead and make sure any further impeachment materials, I'll make sure that they see long before we ever get there.
okay, I don't see much alternative. I guess when I allotted the amount of time I did, it kind of factored in these potential delays. So, big picture, as I said, the amount of time allotted factored in some of this stuff. So, I just don't want, if I'm going to be in a pay me now or pay me later scenario, whereby saying, okay, hey, the jurors breathe a sigh of relief, they go home early, but then Friday the 2nd, they're sitting here at midnight. I don't want that, but I don't think we're at that point. Okay, so when are we going to ask him to be here on Tuesday?
Judge, well, it should be a full day. I don't see. I mean, we have like maybe the 9 o'clocks, and we'll get here at 9 or have them here 9:15. Start.
You all be here at 9:15
Yes,
for the jurors, and
yes,
of course I'll be available to help if we need some court rulings about this afternoon. All right. Okay, let's bring them in.
Algiers, President of Court.
Thank you. Welcome back. Please be seated, everyone. So, you must be wondering, what's going on, Judge? He told us to come back from lunch, and here we are, and we've been basically hurry up and wait. I can't tell you what's going on. So that's the short answer. What I can tell you is I have it well in hand, and that we're going to break early today. Something has come up, and what I foresee is that in the long run, we're far better dealing with it now between Mr. Tucker, the lawyers, and myself, rather than keep on shuttling you folks back and forth. Not to worry, we're still on schedule. That schedule that I gave you at the very beginning, we're still well within those parameters. So I'm sorry for any inconvenience that you've had to suffer this afternoon. But again, not to worry, everything is, normal. This is all part of the trial process. And I think the best way to handle it is to wish you a good weekend, 9/15 Tuesday, and we expect that you'll be presented with more testimony at that time. So remember the instructions, follow them diligently, vigilantly. Have a great 3-day weekend, and see you on Tuesday at 9:15. Thank you very much. All right, see you all on Tuesday morning. The door, jurors at once, so my expectation is that you all have the opportunity to what these impeachment materials are, assess them. If there are any specific objections, answer the letters. There are. Make a decision, and hopefully we can have the stage set, so to speak. Next week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. One other thing, just for clarification. I know we discussed the technical aspects of getting Paula on Zoom, and you mentioned how we swear her in. Would we swear her in via Zoom, or do I need to find somebody who would do that? Well, somebody would do that on site.
I'm willing to swear her in, or as long as there's no objection. I mean, I'm assuming that everybody knows who she is. She's not a surprise witness, and so I'm able to administer an oath remotely. So if that satisfies yourself and the state.
We have no objection to that, Judge.
Just doing logistics, Judge.
We would, however, I would ask the court if it's okay to send one of my investigators out to be in the room while she's testifying, because I'd like to know who else is in that room. Make sure there's not somebody sitting off camera that's going to be providing her with anything improper. So I would like to have a witness in that room while she provides her Zoom testimony.
Is there any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay,
Very well.
Of course, Mr. Tucker can have somebody in the room also. Mr. Alvarez raised the question about showing exhibits and the like. Again, I'm not going to be up here operating the Zoom. You all are going to be doing that. There's ways to do that, but it's.
You're right. We're good, Judge. We're good because we will have our IT guy here that will help us.
The term for it, or screen and something.
Share screen.
Share screen. There you go. So.
Judge, just along those lines, one last issue. I know the court inquired yesterday about the email that I forwarded to your office, and I know that you were requesting. I think you were requesting more accurate information with respect to Ms. Belamonte's condition.
And that's true. I assumed that Mr. Tucker premised his question on the fact that he believed he could get that information that would basically establish that she's simply a medical defect. But yeah,
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
haven't withdrawn that request, but I think this question is based upon the premise that that can be obtained, and then going on to, okay, in anticipation, I can swear in. State can have somebody present to monitor, observe, so in the defense if they desire, in their event that people want to use share screen, then that's going to be on them to go provide the screen and the reception here. Otherwise, I guess you know what your mission is in
Yes,
terms
sir.
of this afternoon, so deputies will let me know if and when you need me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So.
All right, I guess that's over with. Thank you guys for coming. I'll see ya tomorrow.